Okay, so first of all, I'm hoping my audio isn't too bad. I'm on a new device and I didn't spend very much time testing this. But, okay, so I'm recording a 10 plus 5 game for a few reasons. First of all, just for my own benefit, first of all, it kind of prevents me from tabbing out and stuff, so I can actually be fully invested in the game and hopefully play better. But additionally, I don't know, it's nice to be able to have a record of my thoughts and compare them to what the computer thinks afterwards, and also maybe someone watching this will enjoy it / benefit from it. But honestly, it's primarily the first thing, because I'm not banking on a ton of people watching this. I have Zen mode on, so we can't see my opponent's rating, but I think it's somewhere in like the 2200 to 2400 range, I guess. I haven't played too many games on this account yet, so I'm not too sure, but we'll see. I'm not sure what I want to play here. I've played a lot of systems against the Spanish. I'll go back to my old kind of... I shouldn't be wasting too much time. I am not the quickest, even when I'm not recording, but anyway, I've played a lot of things against the Spanish. None of them with extraordinary success, but I do have a little bit of experience in a variety of things. So I was going for a marshal. If white had gone c3 on move 8, I would have gone d5. Instead, we have a kind of anti-marshal against a4. Obviously, the idea is to put some pressure on the king side, on the queen side rather. Bishop b7. This bishop is not always fantastically placed on b7 if white goes d3 or something, but I mean, if black eventually can get, for example, d5 in, then it might be quite well placed. So I'm trying to remember, like, literally anything here. I'm not sure I've ever had this exact position before, but I'm trying to remember whether it makes any sense to go knight a5 or if I should just go b4. I'll just play b4. On knight d5, yeah, which is what I thought he would play. I'm not thrilled about the prospect of letting him take on e7. So I was thinking about whether... I really don't know any theory on this position at all. I was thinking about whether it makes sense to take here and go here, which I guess it probably does, because I should have a reasonable play if I'm able to take the bishop. And after bishop takes d5, this is a little uncomfortable, but I doubt it's the end of the world. I don't know. But then also, I was thinking about bishop c5, but I'm a little concerned about... I don't know, maybe d4 isn't that great. Like, I was thinking about d4 and bishop here, but okay, I think I'll just take. I mean, how bad can this be realistically? Yeah, it takes, and then... Okay, they're threatening to take on e5, so I could go d6. And then I suppose I can play d4. Okay, so what am I doing after d4? So obviously they're threatening to take on e5 then, and if I play something like, let's say queen c8, or maybe rook b8. I mean, point being, so like rook b8, if bishop takes c6, bishop takes c6, d5, de5, I should not be losing a pawn, I think, because e4 is falling as well, I'm pretty sure. Even if they take on d8 and I take back and they take on e5, I take here because you can't play rook takes e4 because the back rank mate. Yeah, a5 makes sense, splitting these pawns from each other. I would like to play... I don't know, what should I do here? Never really been hugely confident in these types of positions, so I'm a little... Okay, I mean, this is not immediately hurting me, I don't think, but it's a little uncomfortable to figure out how to get out of it. Like, okay, queen c8 unpins, and I mean, knight d8, knight e6 is a kind of typical rerouting for this type of position. Do I want... I guess I probably do want queen c8. I was thinking about queen d7 followed by knight d8, and if he takes here, and I was thinking about putting pressure on this pawn, but also my queen has gone to d7 already, so it's not like c5 creates a direct threat against this. So maybe I just go queen c8. I have used way too much clock time already, so it's not ideal. I suppose I could play something also like bishop f6, knight e7, and then knight g6. If I place d4 here, I mean, I suppose I could play bishop f6. Taking on in d4 doesn't feel amazing. Okay, so he goes c3. And what am I doing in response to this? I mean, he prevented me from going a5, obviously. You are maybe intending to take and take, although I feel like with two bishops and the central control I get there, I should be doing fine. But it does prevent me from playing, for example, here, I guess, because you take. Although, how bad is that really? Like, I take on d5 and play f5. Is that really something to be concerned about? The other thing is, I mean, obviously the logical move is just to take here. But I don't know how much I really want to do that. I really, honestly, am not sure about anything that's happening here. Which is not fantastic. You know what? I think it's probably fine to let him take on it's probably fine to let him take on b4. First of all, again, bishop b7, queen b7. The queen ends up on a fairly useful square, and the b pawn is covered, and I can play like rook to b8 next. And if he takes, I feel like this b pawn is really, really weak. Not only am I able to get my kingside pawns up the board, but yeah, this b pawn is definitely, I think, going to fall. Like, even if I wanted to, I could play immediately after cb4, bishop d5, e d5, queen b7, queen b3 to cover both pawns, and then rook b8. So yeah, it goes bishop back. That makes sense. And here, f5 looks tempting. I mean, maybe there's no reason not to just throw in this move. Sorry, f5 is illegal. What am I saying? What I mean is king h8 intending f5 looks tempting. I should stop vividly hallucinating for a moment. How worried am I really about c takes b? But also, how unwilling am I really to play takes here? I mean, you might play d takes, and then, I don't know, you might put the bishop back here, given that takes can now be met with queen takes, which is maybe not 100% what I want if I'm trying to activate the bishop along here. So you know what? I will play king h8. I will leave the I'll leave the b pawn to its fate for now, and just see what we get here after f5. I mean, the situation I really don't want in the long term is to take b5 and then get connected passes over here. But yeah, naturally enough, he's not really interested in doing that. So yeah, is f5 playable? f5, first of all, if takes, then takes. There's no knight g5 or anything, so that's not a worry. If takes, well, first of all, probably like rook takes f5 is okay. Okay, so I will play this. I need to go faster anyway. The other thing is if takes, I can also go e4. So this puts a little bit of a challenge to white as to what they're going to do next. I was, by the way, for some reason under the impression that this hangs a knight, but this is of course a knight on d8, not a queen. But I can take on e4, so that's not really a problem. Now on ef, if he were to play that, I don't know. Rook f5 feels a bit odd somehow, but like bishop here, I don't know. But e4 is that a genuine threat? Because this bishop is loose on e7. I was spending a lot of time hallucinating that this is a queen on d8 and not a knight. But if this were to happen and he went, if I got another turn, I mean, takes here and then takes here is probably good. If he went knight d2, I mean, first of all, I can play queen here. Okay, so that's like absolutely not a problem. If he doesn't take anything and goes bishop d3 or what have you, I mean, I suppose I can take, go d5, and then go e4, which I think must be excellent for black. I mean, it closes the diagonal of this bishop, but I mean, I've got a very imposing center. Half open f file, bishop can go to d6, the queen can go somewhere. So I mean, this looks rather nice for black, and I'm awaiting what white's going to do. By the way, on takes here, I suppose I can also take with the queen. If d takes, bishop takes. If queen takes, I feel like there quote-unquote should be a tactic, but maybe there isn't. I guess there's no way to really exploit the loose bishop and exploit what's happening here, so I could just take. But it doesn't... Okay, takes, and now, yeah, there are a few reasonable looking moves. Again, e4, it doesn't produce a genuine threat to this knight, I suppose, because the bishop is loose here. But again, if I'm able to take and take, that feels like it also must be good. Rook f5, like I said, bishop d3, and then after rook... I don't know where you want to put the rook. Rook wherever. Maybe they have knight g5, and maybe that's a little frustrating. I think I do just want to go e4. Knight g5 is bad because of takes, with threats. Knight d2, I mean, I can just take here, right? So I don't think any issue there. The thing is, I mean, I don't know what move white will play here, because yeah, everything looks fantastic for me, to be honest. If you play something like d5 to lock out this bishop a little bit, I mean, takes is probably still alright, but also, like, oh, I disconnected. Please reconnect quickly. Thank you. If I open another tab, does that leave this up? Oh, whoops. Didn't mean to do that. Oh, am I back? I'm back. Okay. I lost some clock time there, which is not ideal, but we're fine, I think. I just got to be a little faster. Yeah, d5. And here, yeah, what I was saying was I thought I could play queen takes here and be pretty happy about it. Because, yeah, the knight is now tied to this. You could play, and I mean, there's still the ability to play takes and stuff. Yeah, ef3 is probably fine, but this also leaves white with a decision to make again. Yeah, so what should white play here? Something like maybe queen c2? This covers this. If takes, you can take and then take on e7, and you're also threatening to take on e4. Okay, that's something I probably should have anticipated ahead of time. So what am I doing after queen c2? I'm not actually any material down. I don't know why it felt like... I guess I was offering this B pawn for quite a few moves in a row, so it kind of felt like I was material down. But I'm not actually material down. Yeah. With that, I can take on D5 after queen C2, which... Okay, on takes queen E4 or something. I mean, I can trade queens, go... you have a tempo on this bishop. I was going to say take and go bishop f6, but you have a tempo on this bishop. I have a feeling that I should not be allowing the rook to get to e7. You threaten rook e8 with mate, you threaten this pawn. Doesn't feel great. So yeah, it feels as though bishop d5 is what I should be doing. But yeah, maybe I should have taken on f3 because I missed queen c2. B3 doesn't really accomplish anything. You just take it. I mean, I could throw in bc3. Like if I don't want my b pawn to be hanging at the end of that line, like I could throw in. Yeah, okay. So he plays it. I'll go fast. Let's go fast. bc3, and then on bc3, bishop takes d5. Bishop d5, queen d5. Queen e4. Queen e4, rook e4. Yeah, I can play bishop f6. Attacks this straight away. I probably don't have any particular concerns other than my clock, I guess. Yeah, there's not really an alternative to trading queens because this is hanging. This is potentially hanging if I go queen somewhere bad. Okay, so now we got even material. I've got a better pawn structure. I do have to be careful I don't let this pawn drop somehow. Rook b8 looks like it makes sense. At some point, I gotta activate this knight, probably to c6. I mean, if white does nothing, then I can create some good threats like this. I mean, I don't think the a pawn is dropping by force by any means, but against these pawns, I can make some threats. I also have the potential to create a central passer, which I think is closer to happening than white's 3-on-2 kingside majority. Rook b3 also an idea, which puts pressure on this pawn, which is not too easy to defend. Because, I mean, if you go rook c1, you leave this pawn vulnerable after rook a3. If you go here, then it does attack this pawn, but I can play probably c5. I would have to think about whether this pawn is in any danger after like bishop f4 or something. But okay, it just in general it feels like nice pressure for black. If he goes rook c4 straight away, I mean, yeah, this is something to think about here in bishop f4. I suppose I might have bishop takes c3. Okay, it does play this right away. I mean, knight e6 is a normal looking move as well, but I do kind of want the knight to go here. c5 here, yeah, I was thinking about this, but you can take here as well. However, I was going to say, so I can take here and threaten this, but you can take here as well. So I'm not entirely clear what happened there. Anyway, I mean, rook b7 is a simple move, though maybe not as ambitious as I would like. I can also, I mean, I can play knight f7. There are back rank troubles if you try to play this and try to take here very quickly, but I'm not sure I want to elicit that just yet. I don't know, rook b7 feels like a wimpy move and that I should have better. But maybe being patient is not the worst. One thing I could do, actually, okay, I've seen an idea. One thing I can do is on bishop f4 to play knight b7. Idea being, it covers both these pawns. It attacks this. It enables me to play d5. Well, I guess you can take here, but okay, you have to spend another tempo on your bishop, and I can take here and stuff. But anyway, it enables me to play d5 because this is covered now. I could even play bishop d8 if I wanted to. I guess threatening to take here as well, because, okay, the point being on rook takes, I have rook takes here. And yeah, on rook d1, first of all, I suppose I could play rook here, but also, okay, I didn't anticipate that move. But I have d5, right, and take on c3. Bishop f6 doesn't come with a threat, so I can just take here. And yeah, rook somewhere, I take on c3. And okay, I think I should just be winning now. Obviously, especially with under 2 minutes on the clock, I'm not very good in time trouble, but I do at least have more time on the clock than they do. So yeah, you go there, I take here. And you play something. I don't know. So rook here, that looks like a reasonable move. I suppose I can play... I mean, d4 is sensible enough, but I can also take here because of the back rank stuff. It feels like I'm overloading my pieces, kind of. I'll just push. It's fine. I probably, I guess, will lose the a6 pawn at some point if I take on a5. I mean, why not just push the connected passers? I suppose white may play bishop d2, so at least, okay, h4. Yeah, you know what? Okay, I'll take here. I don't mind. Opens the rook along the b file as well, of course. Not obligatory to do that, but... like, in the sense of activating the knight, it might have been more useful to bring it this way. Knight e5, fair enough. Rook b... so you're threatening this. Knight d7, forking things, is the kind of knight fork that I often miss. Actually, I think I only spotted it this time because I was intending to play rook b2 anyways, and it happens to get out of the fork. But we take what we can get. I missed knight d3. I probably can just play this. You take on c5, I can take on f2. Gotta be careful about the back rank, but there's no... h6 can come with tempo at some point. I suppose... okay, I suppose... oh no, the e7 score is covered, so that wasn't a thing. So I have this. Still cannot take on c5 because you get checkmated. And, okay, the threat is c4. I'm not really clear on what white does about that. I mean, in the sense that it pushes the knight away to try to checkmate him, but also in the sense that these pawns are just moving up the board rapidly. Ah! That's something I really should have seen coming. I mean, I have rook c2. It's not an issue, but I really have not been anticipating my opponent's moves very well. I'd probably sack him, but yeah, okay. There's no reason whatsoever to do that. Still, I guess fortunately for me, there's still no taken on c5. Bishop f4, yeah. Okay, so I push. I could go thing here first. Okay, let's not spend too much time on it. 95, yeah, I was ready to go d3, but I guess you can take on c4 then? Yeah, you kind of are threatening to take on c4. Gotta play something, obviously. Oh, you know what? I have rook e4, don't I? After knight takes c4. Rook d3, I have rook e1 mate, which is important. Okay, win on time. That's okay, considering I'm pretty sure I'm winning this position regardless. Oh, not as winning as I would have liked to be. Computer's not a massive fan of rook e4, I guess. Alright, wanted me to... Okay, that's fine. I missed knight b2 completely. Or knight b6, yeah, that again, I mean, I have at least the ability to play bishop d4. Otherwise, there are problems, and stick the knight here. I mean, I played fine. I just did a really bad job. Well, okay, actually, my position was apparently bad earlier on. So maybe I didn't play fine. But yeah, I did a really bad job of anticipating the moves that my opponent was going to play, especially at the end. So okay, let's take a little review. So we had a Spanish. I spent way too much time in the opening for no reason, just deciding what I wanted to do, which could have created some problems later on. Bishop b7. I think if I remember right, the computer's top choice is b4, but of course there are lots and lots of strong games with both moves. There is this idea of playing d3 followed by bishop d2 that I remember seeing the computer like. The idea being that it prevents knight a5, so it makes things a little uncomfortable for black's pieces, because often in the Spanish, this knight on c6 is not exactly where it wants to be. I remember thinking black is probably fine after queen d7, intending knight d8, knight d6. Anyway, knight c3, it wants me to play knight d4. I was considering both knight a5 and b4. But yeah, I didn't feel like doing anything that felt complicated. Knight a5 scores well, but the computer really wants me to play here, which I did not anticipate at all, but makes sense. On takes on e5, you can take here, which you can even follow it up with b4 and takes here, so that's got to be great for black. And on takes here. There have been some games here. Once bishop b4. I mean, alright then. I guess it prevents d3. Okay. Okay, b4 is the most common move in the Masters database by a little bit. And yeah, this looked a little bit uncomfortable. There is knight a5, which again is probably fine. I was considering playing bishop here as well. Maybe this is not the most ideal scenario to play into. So d6. Yeah, I was wondering about d4 here. So there was a game here that went bishop here, yeah. And yeah, the computer really likes white, which, yeah, it's fair, honestly. After takes, this bishop on d5 is very well placed. This bishop is not so well placed. So maybe bishop f6 is not so good. I mean, e d4 is always an option. Rook b8. Oh yeah, this is rook b8 is what I said I would play. And then I was thinking about this de, and then okay, yeah. So this is not too bad for a black. Queen e2 at once, but yeah, the idea was after takes, I suppose either rook takes on d8 and then to take on e4. Yeah. So yeah, rook b8 is probably reasonable for black. Obviously, I'm not running the computer on a very high depth. My machine is not the greatest. But yeah, okay. So taking on c6, taking on e5 doesn't really work. But yeah, c3. It does check out that white has something there, because I didn't play the opening very well. Knight takes a5. Oh, I did not see this. I mean, I'd seen the idea of knight a5, and I was thinking, oh wow, if this bishop were not defended, I could do this. But yeah, no, I do have c6. That's I think a new theme for me in these positions. I'm not sure I've seen this exact type of trick before. So yeah, queen c8. I mean, it fits kind of the theme of, like, it's not as though after a5 black is suddenly positionally fine. Black is fine because there's a tactic that exists. So queen c8 kind of continues the pattern of black being a little worse. Yeah, computer really didn't like. I was feeling kind of confident here about this, but computer really didn't like it. I thought I was doing well at this stage. Bishop g5. Okay. Yeah, this exists because, I mean, this square isn't covered twice, and it exists because the bishop is loose. I hadn't seen this at all. I was thinking about knight g5, which doesn't work, I don't think, but yeah. So takes, then takes, and yeah, he went takes, which, okay, let's just get a low-depth computer opinion. Yeah, bishop g5. d5 I didn't really consider until later, which makes sense. Yeah, bishop d3 also solidifies. ef, computer's not a huge fan of. And yeah, I was deciding between these three moves. Queen takes f5. Yeah, fair enough. I didn't really want... Oh, I guess I can just take back. I was only thinking about bishop f3. And then this didn't look very good. If I have to take here and I don't have some tactic involving the f-file, it didn't look very good. But yeah, no, I didn't consider DE at all. Of course, you can't take with the knight, but what I hadn't seen was that on rook takes, you do have bishop takes f3. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, e4 didn't seem too bad to me. But yeah, this d5 plus queen c2 was very, very strong by my opponent. And I had eventually seen these ideas as possible, but only after I had played my moves. Okay. Yeah, there are only two good moves here, d5 and g4. Of course, g4 is not something I thought about at all. I was essentially under the impression that, okay, this is maybe not a genuine threat in the strict sense of winning a piece, but like, if I am able to play this, it must be good. g4, yeah, it's a bold move. Certainly does take advantage of the loose bishop here, and fair enough. I think that's a very difficult move for a human to play. And then the other one is d5, which takes out the influence of this bishop. This didn't seem like I was doing that great, or queen f5 or rook f5 or whatever. So yeah, queen takes here, and then is there any... Yeah, queen c2 is not the only playable move, but it certainly does put pressure on me to figure out what I'm doing next, because this is not good. And yeah, bc3 had the idea that I wanted to take here, but I do have to trade queens, and this creates two threats. So I wanted to have this in first. I was correct that I would be fine in the position after b takes c, but my opponent, and I guess me as well, didn't really consider this, which, fair enough, I can't take on d5 because you take on e7. Okay. And I suppose on taking here, yeah, this doesn't look like a fantastic option for black. But yeah, on b takes, I'm at least able to get into this position, which I thought black was already better here. I guess with white's probably doing fine with good defense, but I was really happy with this knight b7 idea that I came up with. Yeah, white apparently does not have that much to fear. Because, I mean, this d5 push, it's not like I'm threatening really to win a pawn immediately, I don't think. Because, like, if I do this... first of all, I think takes, and if you go back... Well, I suppose I pick up this pawn. But also, if you go here, takes here. I don't know. I was thinking, yeah, it might be okay for me if I sacrifice an exchange, but I guess it's not really that fine. I do have the connected passers, but okay, a rook is worth a lot in an endgame, so I probably just shouldn't play d5, and I should play something more patient. Oh, no, this works as well. Oh, because you have bishop e5, of course. Right, okay, then that makes me feel silly. I have bishop d8 to target this pawn. I'd also attack this knight, but okay, you have this, and yeah, this formation, even though I pick up a pawn right now, it's not very comfortable, and okay, rook a4, you at least get the pawn back with a good position. But yeah, this allows d5, because there's no longer a threat to the rook on b8. And after this happens, now I'm picking a pawn up. I'm doing fantastic. However, I did manage to mess this up later. Rook e2 I went, rook fe8, bishop e3. Again, like, I was missing every move that white was playing at this stage. I didn't see knight d3. I did not see bishop e3. Like, I was a little on time, but I should have really done a better job at anticipating my opponent's moves. Here I was thinking about playing rook fe2. But I just didn't want to it just makes me uncomfortable with low time on my clock, and I guess this is probably a better move because it doesn't enable white to block the e-file. So it's probably just me being lazy. And yeah, I threatened to go here, so you have to trade a pair of rooks, and then black should be very easily winning. c4, yeah, just a lazy move. And yeah, I had seen this d3 rook e4 idea, but I did not see that you can actually save everything by going knight here, and then it becomes more difficult because yeah, bishop d4 is fine here as well. Okay, this would be the move I'd need to have come up with after knight b6, but knight b2 maybe still this doesn't work because of, oh yeah, knight d3 covers f2, of course. So yeah, this whole thing was very lazy by me at the end, and yeah, I mean, allowing, yeah, I mean, the computer wants to play here, king g8 as well, just to avoid any back rank tricks, and then just allow white to take this pawn, and then play, yeah, even d3 works, or a5. But yeah, this c4 is really makes things more difficult for me for basically no reason, because it turns out to really not be easy to cover this pawn. I was banking on this, but yeah, knight b2, and I mean it's lucky almost that I have bishop d4 at the end, which keeps chances for me. But yeah, anyway, just put the rooks here. There's no back rank mate. You just need one tempo to not get back rank mated. So that was all very lazy, and I am pretty fortunate my opponent lost on time here instead of creating more problems. So that's a win. It definitely could have and should have been a lot more convincing, but it's a win, so we will take it. Let's see, my opponent was rated 2286, and we got the win there. So that's all for this video, I guess. Bye.